I think just to kind of kick us off while we get this panel underway, I think for both Andrea and I, horror has meant so much to us from such a young age. It really influenced me and made me, realize that I could be something more than a Disney princess. And I was wondering if you could both maybe talk about what some of your first experiences were with horror, either film, book, anything like that.
Oh, well, super. Can y'all hear me?
Yep.
Yeah? Okay. Well, now we can be a Disney princess that just, kicks ass, right? But I am a Hitchcock fan, Twilight Zone, that entire genre, and I remember being so excited to get cast once on Murder, She Wrote because I got to shoot in the Psycho House on Universal's lot, so life was perfect. So I've always loved horror, and in my case, I never felt a victim of it, of the particular show, because it was mind over matter, so to speak. So always loved the scare and the thrill and that type of fun, that scare.
I'm 29, so I don't know if this kind of dates me.
We're so happy for you.
it kind of depends on, like, for me, I think I grew up kind of with Goosebumps. I know it's weird. I grew up in Georgia, so, Harry Potter was a little like, ugh, for some people. But Goosebumps was kind of like the first thing, and then Twilight Zone, that's another thing that I just got really into as far as filmmaking. And then for me, it wasn't so much a love of sort of horror in particular. It's just I really love horror filmmaking, and I think that it's the coolest type of filmmaking in the sense that we get to do a lot of things that are exciting behind the scenes, and the community, the horror community, for me, like, I was sold. I just want to be a part of all of it.
Okay, so my question for you, Tara, is could you tell us a little bit about what the role of the producer is like? Honestly, for the longest time, I had no idea. And what kind of creative input you had on a film like Tragedy Girls with such strong female characterization written by a couple of dudes?
Our director, who is one of the three, because Justin originally kind of sort of created the story, and Tyler and Chris kind of overtook it and kind of, did what we would eventually film. I do everything from A to Z, but I got a phone call 2 years ago from an actor friend of mine, Cooper Andrews. I don't know if any of you watch Walking Dead, but he's Jerry. He goes, hey, I read this script, and if anyone can make this or get this made, it's you. And it was Tragedy Girls. So read it, and just sort of from there brought in some other filmmaker friends of mine, and was like, we absolutely have to make this movie. And then from there we shot it in Kentucky, and every day just filmmaking, that's like a whole other thing. But really A to Z, like from finding the script to financing to actually day-to-day physical production, and then getting it sold. And Gunpowder and Sky, they were great. They're sort of new, but they understood the content and what we wanted to do with it. And then as far as just having a voice, I was the only female. And of course, like, the actresses and things like that. But I've been very, very vocal from the beginning that I wanted a diverse cast, so we do have SAG diversity incentive in the film. I wanted 2 different ethnicities of female leads, and that was something that we all agreed on and that I wanted to see. So I'm actually really, really proud of that for the film.
Awesome. So you really pulled it all together, basically.
Yeah, I mean, I'm crafty. I I'll do whatever. I don't care. And we have the greatest crew that has since they keep working with me. We're working together now on something else.
So my question for you, Laura, and just rewatching this film after it's been a while. This is a film where you've got a female protagonist who's got this supernatural ability, and a supernatural ability that's born of trauma, as so many powerful females are in film, and it's unique to this series, but it's not unique to cinema. How did you prepare for such an emotional performance?
I actually worked with some psychics and some different people because I didn't want to portray someone that was just kind of having this stroke kind of craziness. I wanted her to have a base in reality, which we were trying to do with Terry Kaiser and the doctor, and the way he was just trying to destroy her mind for his own gain. And it kind of became another story along with the monster and the killing, which was really exciting for me. And that's really how I prepared for her. I wanted everything that she felt to feel real to the people watching, like that they were feeling manipulated through her in some way, which obviously horror movie is manipulation in a way to make us get scared and have fun. So I went at it that way, and I stayed away from cast and crew deliberately with John Buechler and Kane, so that we wouldn't have relationships other in the beginning, of course, to keep her separate, which was fun. It worked. I think it worked. So,
I think so. You
yeah.
guys think so?
Yeah. She had a naivete to her. They originally did my hair dark. Well, everybody's hair color was changed several times in the film, but mine, they wanted me to be a real dark hair and dark, and they did this screen test with her dark, and John was saying, no, Tina doesn't have any color. She's just, a soft version. So I liked that they went with that. It seemed evil in her, but it wasn't.
Well, because she's a character that she seems to want to fade into the background. She seems to not want to be noticed, and then she's forced to.
Right.
And I think that's such an interesting thing that horror does, and everyone here kind of, I'm sure, has the sense that horror provides such amazing parts for women, and I think in Tragedy Girls and in Friday 13th Part 7, you see women take action almost out of necessity. In Tragedy Girls, I think it's a bit murkier, but it's just the sense of like, this society is bullshit. Let's just tear it all down. And it's kind of the same for Tina. It's all bullshit, so she literally tears
nowhere
it
else to
down.
go.
Yeah.
So, she has to come out fighting with something. She loses everything she has and everything that she believed in, or she thought she believed in, and we don't really know how long they put her away or what she was dealing with, but no one accepts her on any level, which, really no one accepts a lot of people on any level, right? I have an acting school, film and television, and I have several actors in wheelchairs, on canes, all kinds of disabilities that are fabulous actors that we're working with thanks to SAG and SAG initiatives. That's our union initiatives. So glad to hear that about you too.
And I was just wondering, because you guys have had careers before, after, ongoing, and what are the kind of scripts before Tragedy Girls, before Friday 7, that you were seeing, and that because these do feel special, they feel really different in a way that I think we're talking about tonight, but just if there's any kind of scripts that came to mind that you were seeing, or a lot of common themes that kept coming up for you that you were just like, or hey, that's cool.
Well, I've been in a little longer than you. I'm on a 42-year career now, so I'm excited about that. But I loved, I worked from 80s all the way through 2000s, and I played every hero, every movie of the week, and hooker, you have to start as a hooker as a woman. That's, you have to be a waiter and a hooker. If you're black, you have to be a thug. It's kind of the way it used to be, right? And so I played that in everything, and I really liked all of the roles. I liked almost everything that I did. I really did. I had a good time as an actor, and so I've never looked back and thought I didn't like a role that I did. I really have found something I've enjoyed about all of them, very, very much so, and that's part of it, is getting to play a character, and decide to be a character and not judge a character. My first character, I played a 14-year-old true story of a child prostitute in Children of the Night, which is a true organization in Los Angeles, and Hugh Hefner was the first person to help fund it, because he's not about child prostitution. And it was a really intense film, and at first I was younger, and I had judgment on this lifestyle, and I had judgment, and I realized I was playing a real person and had to see the world through her eyes and become her, and my life really changed with that role. And that's what I've tried to do throughout my career, and then even in my film school, teaching them not to judge. Don't judge, don't prejudge, that type of a through.
Yeah, I've actually been in the business my whole life. I worked on the production teams of Hunger Games and Alvin and the Chipmunks and stuff like that. So I come from sort of big creature effects and stuff like that. And I actually, once I started kind of being able to make my own content, the stuff that I sort of lean towards is stuff I would have wanted to watch when I was 16-year-old me. And I couldn't ever find anything that I completely loved, because every time, now it's easier to find stuff, but my mom was cool, she let me order stuff from like the Blockbuster had a catalog, and I could order old stuff, and I'm a huge Sid and Marty Krofft fan, and like weird like HR Puffin stuff, like the most glorious thing to me ever made. So it's like if Miss Frizzle and Jim Henson and, you know, the Crofts and I don't know, had like a John Hughes love child, that would be anything I would want to make. And I also think it's sort of a dying art. So anytime I can make a creature, for Tragedy Girls, we used creature effects. They had just done The Reverend, and when I first went into their offices, the horses had just come back. And for me, that was just like the coolest thing in the whole world. They were making stuff for Salem and like a few other shows at the time. And all of this was practical. So I don't know if what you guys didn't catch, but that's also kind of a huge thing for me is practical effects, and just a lot of the movies in the 80s that I love had that, and the more kind of stuff that I can do. So it doesn't really matter what I get pitched. I just want to work in like creature labs and work where I can walk into rooms and there's vats of blood being made and like weird things coming out of molds. I don't know. You grow up from like wanting to make potions when you're a kid. Like I get to do that and get paid for it, so it's a lot of fun. So anything with that.
Okay, well, we're just about out of time, I'm afraid. This was a really short, quick Q&A, but thank you both for being part of it. We're all going to go to, I want to say 8-bit. I want to call it, is it 8-bit?
Bit bar.
Bit bar. That just shows you how old I am. It's 8-bit bar to me. But just one more question before we go, and just kind of actually on the topic of bits. The Friday the 13th game has come out, and it's a bit of a big deal. And fans are clamoring for Tina Shepard to come out on a DLC with all her telekinetic abilities and all that. Can you give us some hope?
I am trying. You know, they did it in stages, and it was a big process doing the games, but it would be so cool. And I really want to go do that stop motion stuff and do all the eyes. It'd be so cool, you know, to capture all of the powers of Tina and all of her different thoughts. So we just have to keep pushing them. The guys want to do it, and I would have a ball. I would be even cooler to the kids. Yes, absolutely.
Is there a hashtag like right now? How would you call it? Hashtag Tina for
Tina for
game? Tina for
Tina, y'all will have to figure that one out.
Over beers at the bar.
Yes.
Thank you so much for staying.
Thank you, guys.
Thank you, Kevin.